Hey guys, it's Ash from BeingSwenglish. Now don't the press and media talk absolute rubbish sometimes? They talk rubbish about Sweden, and it doesn't irritate just Swedes, but it also irritates people like me, Brits, and people from elsewhere in the world that live in Sweden and know this place really well, far better than most of these journalists. There's an article today in several newspapers talking about Swedes and how Swedish families put their children's friends in the bedrooms whilst the family and the children eat. I mean, I'm sorry, but I've never heard such nonsense in my life. The concept here is that Swedish people, when they have their kids' friends around to play and dinner time arrives, rather than inviting the kids' friends to eat with them, instead they say to the kids' friends, right, you go and play in the room and we'll all eat dinner as a family, and then little Johnny or whatever his name is, or Sven, can come and play with you afterwards. But it just doesn't happen. Now, I've got a 5-year-old. I've lived here for the last almost 3 years, and we've been around to multiple friends' houses with Ellis, and Ellis has been around on his own as well to friends' houses. At no time has Ellis ever been ushered into a bedroom whilst the family of the friend that he's at eat. Equally, I'm not Swedish, but we've had friends of Ellis's around here as well, with and without their parents, and when dinner time comes around, we don't usher the whole friend's family into a bedroom, into the downstairs, under the stairs cupboard or anything like that, and say, we're just going to have dinner. Do you mind just sitting there for a while, please? It just doesn't happen. Now, I've lost count of the number of friends' houses we've been around to, but on almost every occasion, we've almost every time pre-agreed that when dinner time comes around, that's time to go anyway. You know, it's time I want to take Ellis home, I want to make him dinner and have a nice evening together. Or they say, would you like to stay for dinner? And then they make Ellis dinner, and they'll make me dinner as well sometimes. And likewise, I do exactly the same. I've spent some evenings running around on my own here, preparing dinner for 3 of his friends, like a crazy multitasking man, which I didn't think even I was capable of doing. So, you know, stories like this are just nonsense. Now, they even go to an expert, an ethnologist. I guess he's an expert in ethics. And they get his view, and apparently this comes down to what they call the law of Jante, which in Sweden is this weird moral thing, really, which says it's not actually a law, it's more of a cultural way of life, an ethic, a moral, which says that people shouldn't ever show off, people shouldn't brag about what they have, people shouldn't make someone else feel like they're in debt or worse off than them. I think I pronounced it right, the law of Jante. And they say that that applies here, that Swedes, if they have a kid around and they feed that kid, it makes the kid's family feel like they are now in debt, like they have to return the favour. But that's just not the case. I mean, yes, it's common courtesy, right, to return the favour, but it's not explicit, and the other kid's family are not going to be in absolute sorrow and depression because they now owe another kid some meatballs and pasta. The other guy goes on to say that offering another parent's child food can be like saying that the child doesn't get enough food in their own home. Nobody feeds another parent's child unless they ask the parent first. I don't feed Ellis's friends with food unless I've asked the parents, do you mind if little Andreas or Anders wants to stay for meatballs? You know, you always agree it and then you feed them if they want it. So again, I just think going to these experts to try and find justification for a problem that doesn't even exist is just nonsense. Press and media. I have to say, I find that a lot of these Swedish newspapers and these Swedish newspapers aimed at immigrants or expats are desperately hunting for news stories all the time. They're not really ever producing content that's useful or interesting or viable or even real. It's just news stories based on silly Swedish stereotypes of Swedish people, or myths or rumours about Swedish people. And actually, most of them are absolute nonsense. Comment below with your thoughts on this video. How many times have you had kids over, for your friends' kids over for dinner, and you've put them in a cupboard whilst you had dinner, or put them in a bedroom to play and called them back afterwards? If you enjoy this kind of content, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys.